So hopefully this will work. This is actually the first time I got a new computer. So this is the first time I'm actually recording on the computer. I usually record on my phone. But I actually did a recording of a video talking about guns and firearms and Second Amendment. And that file ended up being corrupted, so I couldn't use it. And I was watching a bunch of videos, and y'all saw me make the post earlier. I thought that was a funny cartoon. No, I did not create that cartoon. That cartoon came from somebody else, which I think is a wonderful thing. I feel like there's an awakening going on with a lot of black folks, especially black men, most importantly. I saw Charlemagne. Charlemagne ain't backing down from black people being armed. And that's a very unpopular position with a lot of folks in New York. I've said time and time again, we gonna have to confront these old niggas, these old politicians when it comes to this Second Amendment stuff. Black people need to tell the Democratic Party that the Second Amendment is off the table. You know, um, I saw the clip of because the Avice show was talking about it, and he was talking about Charlemagne up there talking to the white woman on, I don't know what it was, CNN or something like that, and she was like, oh, but more guns it can cause more problems and more danger and more harm. And again, they don't ever say that shit to white folks. Again, you start talking about arming black people, all of a sudden it's like panic. And notice Al Sharpton sitting up there, and I'm saying at least in the clip that Avice show had, Al Sharpton ain't say shit. He's sitting up there looking dumbfounded. Okay, because that these old Democrats want to continue to push their old classic narrative that the young black people ain't going for. All this, oh, you need to vote for us because they's racist, or you need to vote for us because we gonna do something for black people, but we never deliver, right? You got ADOS talking about reparations for slavery, and again, you got the COVID-19. They throwing up trillions of dollars, just trillions of dollars at America. Oh, we ain't sorry, black people, reparations of slavery. We ain't got no money. But yet you see them throwing around trillions of dollars when it comes to the COVID-19, right? You see them putting the whole country in further into debt, right? Same with the Asian community, Asian business, $2 million per business. I talked about that. But black people, oh no, we ain't got no money. We ain't got no resources to clean up the black community. You got Michael Bloomberg running around every town for gun safety. Moms demand action. Oh, we got to reduce gun violence. Well, if you want to reduce gun violence in the black community, why don't you take all that money, the $60 billion that Michael Bloomberg got, and invest it in the black community? How about every town for better schools? How about every town for better or greater economic opportunities and gainful employment in the black community? How about every town for that shit? But again, he's got all the black shills out there, throwing money at them, including Sarah Anthony, which you had a Michael Lynn Jr. out there defending. And that's something that we need to talk about. We seriously need to talk about this. Because I was watching a video from the NFAC, right? And the name of the organization, every time I hear, I was watching it, I never even heard of the organization, to be honest. And every time the brother in the video was naming the organization, I bust out laughing. Not fucking around coalition. That shit cracked me up every time. That's better than my uppity ass nigga association, the UANA, right? But you know, a lot of things that were said in there, it's like, I mean, it's right up the alley of shit I say. I mean, even some key words that were even said, talking about, group economics. He called out, black people being metaphysical and magical and shit. But then later on, he ended up being magical himself, talking about melanin content and ancient Kemet and stuff like that. And I get that it's meant to be designed to uplift black people, but I try to stay away from that stuff. Because like I said, when it comes to magic and when it comes to religion, that's like alcohol to black people, and black people are alcoholics. We can't handle it. So don't bring it up, because we can't handle it. The vast majority of us can't handle it. We can't even handle the critical thinking of, when it comes to the Second Amendment. So why do people run around thinking that we can handle metaphysics and stuff like that? I mean, that's where the cowards go. You know. I got somebody who I was talking to who was talking about they're shocked. They feel like a lot of the black folks that are in these conversations are armchair revolutionaries. Some of the most prominent black voices, on YouTube. Because I mean, they just refuse to say gun. They refuse to say Second Amendment. They just kind of vaguely, oh, you need to defend yourself, like they're worried about being investigated by the feds or some shit like that. They just refuse to say it. Like it's too triggering, or something like that. I like what the brother said, who's in the NFAC talking about, when they got these white militias, they got all type of white militias, but again, black identity extremists is what they focus on. That all of a sudden sets off the alarms. You see, but here's the thing, right? And I'm gonna bring up what I brought up in the other video that I didn't get to post because of the files were corrupted. But actually some of it I don't even need to cover, because I can see that people are I've watched a bunch of videos and I see people are covering it. I watched a video from Locks and Loaded, and he talked about how he's glad to see people are taking the position, the show of force. I mean, when you're dealing with a bully, you got to speak the language of the bully sometimes. Like, you just can't all this non-violence, we gonna hold hands, we shall overcome, singing some spiritual Negroes in the street. I see that I was watching a woman, Dr. Shona, she had a video, and she's talking about, justice this, justice that, we're gonna seek justice, we're gonna get justice and everything. And this is what I'm sick and tired of. Not, no offense to her, but I'm like, that's a female response. Because at the end of the day, all this, we going to seek justice and everything else. And it's not that, I know we got a handful of sisters out here that's like, we ain't supporting brothers. And then, she's, out there and she's in support of, justice for, Mr. Arbery. But here's my thing. That's not going to stop the bully from bullying. You see what I'm saying? Like, in other words, yeah, we can talk about getting justice after the fact. That ain't going to bring, Mr. Arbery back. That's not going to bring Breonna Taylor back. You see what I'm saying? How do you stop the bullies from bullying? That's the question. And the answer, in my opinion, is the Second Amendment. Now, what I was addressing in the other videos, I was addressing all these people that are like, oh, well, guns not going to solve everything. Like Mr. Arbery, he was a prohibited person because when he was 19, he had unlawful possession because he tried to sneak a firearm into a basketball game. So right off top, he's a prohibited person. Or you got people bringing up, Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, talking about, well, he had a firearm and he shot at the cops, and because they want to say that they announced themselves. They always claim that they never announced themselves. But why would you have somebody who doesn't have a criminal record, is in lawful possession of a firearm, has a license and everything, shoot at police? You think he saw a badge and a hat and was like, die copper die? Like, no. The cops didn't announce themselves. They came in there on some Rainbow Six flashbang type shit. And he didn't know what it was, thinking somebody's breaking into the home, but they got him sitting in jail for attempted murder of a police officer. The cops fucked up, but it's attempted murder of a police officer. They went to the wrong house, but it's attempted murder of a police officer. You see what I'm saying? And unfortunately, Breonna Taylor got caught in the crossfire, right? But getting back to that point about lawful gun ownership, and I'm so glad that Charlemagne checked that white woman on CNN or whatever it was, CNN or MSNBC or whatever, because she tried to switch it up on him, talking about, him, like black, people going out there and doing dangerous shit with the firearms. He's like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people being able to, legally have a firearm and protect themselves. And then he went into talking about, the Constitution applies to all of us, right? It applies to all of us, right? You know, again, forcing her to say that point. And then you got Al Sharpton sitting up there. He ain't saying nothing. You know, Reverend Al Sharpton, who going to tell us that white Jesus is going to protect us and keep us safe. And that all we got to do is turn the other cheek and pray and all that other Christian nonsense. All that pacifist shit. Hell, Reverend Martin Luther King, he was a pacifist. He was a reverend. And what happened? He caught a bullet just like Malcolm X did. So people running around acting like Jesus is going to protect you. I'm like, get out my face with that bullshit. Jesus can't even protect you in his own house, as we saw with Dylan Roof walking in the AME church. So stop it. So here's the thing that really needs to be discussed. And it was not touched on by whoever this person is of the NFAC who did the live chat. Okay. Black people are going to have to deal with this democratic issue. Okay, if self-preservation or the ability to protect yourself with the most effective tools, that being firearms, to do so, then you can't go out here and vote for Democrats as they are and what they stand for based on Michael Bloomberg running around throwing money around. You know, that's all cool that the Black Panthers and the NFAC and Police Watch or whatever other organizations went down there, you know, to Georgia, you know, this county in Georgia, and sat over there on Satilla Street and all that. That's cool. But you wouldn't have been able to do that in New York. And why wouldn't you have been able to do that in New York? Because New York doesn't have any open carry laws. You know what I'm saying? So people running around and talking about, I mean, in one breath, it's like, well, we didn't break the law. You know what I mean? So the cops wasn't fucking us because we didn't break the law. Yeah, because that's Georgia law. Right? But in another breath, it's like, yeah, we ain't scared of nobody. We went down there and we brought our guns and we brought our tools and everything else. I'm like, let me see you do that shit in New York. You're not going to be able to do that shit in New York because the laws are as such that you can't. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's not like black people don't have a problem with racism and bigotry, especially dealing with the cops in New York. You know, they just had that video of that man that was getting, rustled and tussled by the police officer, the Hispanic. He was a Hispanic dude, was roughing up a black dude in New York, or a black. I don't know if it was a black dude or a black woman. I actually forget, but he was roughing up somebody black. You know, and because all I heard was the audio of it. I didn't see the video of it. I was just like, again, here we go with another case again. You know, and they were like, yo, why you being so rough? And the cop was he was being mad extra with it, just all type of extra. Right. But this is a serious issue. You know, the Democrats are trying to pass all type of bullshit right now. They got a bill. You see them with the order 66, like it's like some damn Star Wars Senator Palpatine order. And that's a black man that's the face of that bill. Right? This bill that's letting them monitor everybody and everything type of shit, you know, to give up your rights again. But this is black people. We want Joe Biden to be president, so they can pass shit like that. You know, then they got another bill coming, you know, where they want to prevent all of what they consider ghost guns, so you can't manufacture your own weapons. Which again, white people have been enjoying manufacturing their own weapons for a very long time. That's what it's been. Black people don't even know that federally speaking, you can manufacture your own weapons as long as you're not a prohibited person. But you got the state laws in these democratic states. It's like, oh, no, you can't. We don't want you having guns with unserialized parts because we want to know where everything is coming from. And I'm saying the bill is so overreaching that the bill even factors in not just, you know, again, what the ATF currently defines as a lower receiver on a firearm or the serialized part, which usually there's only one serialized part, which is typically the frame. But they want to make it so that everything, so you can't even get like the parts and shit and have them sent to your home. Right? Because if I wanted to build an AR-15, the lower receiver goes to the FFL, but every other part I can order right offline and have it directly sent to my house. You know what I'm saying? I can go to Davidson's Defense. I can go to Primary Arms. I could go and I could order all this stuff. 22 22 mods for all, which is another, AR-15 upper receiver. So I mean, there's tons of sites I can go to, order all the parts, get all the bolt carriers I want, aim surplus, you name it. I got some secret websites that I'm not naming because I don't want y'all going in there and taking all the good prices of the stuff that I get. But I'm just saying, those are some of the biggies, right? I've said it before. You can go over there on gun.deals and, they got all the type of deals over there and what websites are running, what websites are running. You go on one site, you'll have XD9 that'll be, $400. I go to another site, it's $299. What do you mean I can get an XD9 for $299? The essentials package? Yep, sure. You can get it for $299. It's a damn good firearm for $299. Right? Even now, even with all the, the pandemic shit going on, yep, $299. I mean, there's a bunch of deals going on. And then again, the sales are slowing down a bit. People are still buying, but they're slowing down a bit. The prices are still, kind of high, but they still got some deals. Again, if you want a deal, go for the older models. They're just as effective as the newer models. Everybody wants the new hotness. Go for the older stuff. But no, this is an issue. You can't talk about black people arming themselves and everything. All the laws are not the same in every state. You know how hard it is to try to get a handgun in the city of New York or even in New Jersey? You know how hard that is? You know all the hoops that you got to jump through, the financial resources? Again, I always say all the time when it comes to black people and firearms, white folks are more sophisticated with the way that they enact their white supremacy. If they say no niggas can get guns, black people, they out there in the streets marching. If they price black people out of the market by putting fees and licensures and all other type of bullshit, that cost you, $400 or $500 before you even get to pick up a firearm. You didn't even buy the firearm yet. That's just to go through all the formalities and all the paperwork and shit. And you done already spent damn near $500. Then that $500 that should have gone to the purchase of the firearm, that $500 is gone. So now for you to before you even walk out the door with your firearm, you talking upwards of a stack. And see, again, black people somehow, they stupidly buy into the idea coming from these black democratic shills that's keeping guns out of the hands of Ray Ray and Pookie, where all it's doing is pricing black people out of the market. I have yet to hear any of these black militias or pro-black Second Amendment people bring up this point. Why is this something that constantly gets overlooked? Why do I constantly have to state the obvious? You cannot go out here and advocate for black people to be pro-Second Amendment and pro-Democratic Party. It's plain and simple. Oh, I know how but the Republicans is racist and they like this and they like that, and black people, the Democrats are our only hope for whatever bullshit that they want to focus on. And you'll namely hear this from the women, because the women be, Democrat Biden and everything. That's why you see them all up on MSNBC and CNN and shit. They give them positions and whatnot. Your Simone Sanders and all that shit. Black women are the face of the Democratic Party, right? They go up there and they say that crap all the time. You know what I mean? So we haven't convinced our women, because again, our women, when they see firearms and they see guns, they see Ray Ray and Pookie. Which brings me to another point. I heard the brother talk about, you kill your people in your own community. Yeah, we know that. I made that point myself. I hate when white people bring it up as a deflection away from when they out here fucking with us. I agree with him 100%. However, that does not dismiss the point or the fact that Ray Ray and Pookie is a fucking problem. Ray Ray and Pookie, the criminal activity, the black on black crime in the black community. And I understand that some of it, it's not just, we hate all Pookies. And we understand that a lot of Pookies are on some Pookie shit because of the economic situation and circumstances they've been placed into by the system of white supremacy. We understand that. But at the same time, we need to have some of that same energy that we got for these white supremacists, for these other black men out here that are doing black people in the black community that are trying to have, families and households and causing them a problem. We got to handle them as well. You know what I mean? But I ain't never seen the NFAC or the Black Panthers or any other organization out there with the same energy that they got out there that they got for the McMichaels or that they got for the Dylon Roofs and whatnot. I'm not saying that as a deflection. I'm not saying that to coon out and buck dance. I'm saying that's a reality. That's a reality. And I'm saying even some of the sisters that I don't agree with, it's still a valid point when they bring it up. It's like, oh, you got all this energy for white supremacy, but you ain't got all this energy for niggas running around raping and pillaging, or the Giorgio Caspers running around talking about raping little 6-year-old black girls and how he's going to have her sucking dicks and whatnot. You ain't got the type of energy for that type of shit. Maybe you do. I'm just saying, ain't nobody seen it. You know, everybody's talking about, all them going down there to, Satilla Drive, which is cool. But why is everybody talking about? Because ain't nobody seen anybody show up like that. That's why. Right? Which you already know, alarms in the government and the feds and the black identity extremists and all that other shit is going off in the feds right now. They running around scrambling and shit. And I like what the brother said about, you want to make America great again and, get all these white people charged and go back to this, the 60s or something. Yeah, we ain't going back to the 60s without the black people's energy that they had in the 60s, for the black people that was in the 60s. Like, in other words, it's like, we gonna make America great again, back to the past when it was, open white supremacy or whatever. And it's like, yeah, and that was at a time when black people was more militant than ever. That's what people seem to forget. I just thought that was a very excellent point that he brought up. Not just a valid point, it was an excellent point that he brought up. I'm like, yeah, you're gonna wake up everybody in this motherfucker. But again, I keep noticing that we do not want to have that discussion about how are we going to vote Democratic Party. I'm not even talking about other policies right now. I ain't talking about none of the stuff that Professor Black Truth is talking about, or even Black Authority is talking about. I'm talking narrowly about this issue as it pertains to the Second Amendment. You cannot talk about the Second Amendment and then talk about voting for the party that would have your rights taken away. I mean, that is a one issue vote. That's a one issue. I don't care what the Democrat. In other words, you mean to tell me, right? Black people say we want to defend ourselves. You mean to tell me that if the Democrats came through and said, we're going to give you resources for your school, we're going to do this, we're going to give you jobs, we're going to put Amazon right in the middle of North Philly, we're going to do all this, right? You mean to tell me that you would, but they said, okay, we're going to do all of that, but we're going to enact the most restrictive gun control to where we're just going to ban all guns and nobody can have a firearm. And that's it. Right? How are you going to vote, black people? What's more important to you? Your gun rights? Your ability to protect yourself, self-preservation? The ability for future generations of black people to be able to defend and protect themselves if these white people or white supremacists out here want to get funky with you? Or is it more important to you for you to receive the immediate benefits of whatever the Democrats claim that they're going to give you? What's more important? Again, I see the Second Amendment as a last line of defense. I've always seen it as a last line of defense. That's why it's the Second Amendment. Notice, it's the Second Amendment, and when black people run around talking about their civil rights being violated, that's the 14th Amendment. Notice the numbering. Notice the order, right? Typically, whatever's number one is most important, right? But hold on a second. But I just noticed, got this thing killing my battery. I don't have much time to finish this video out. I'm just saying. This is something that needs to be discussed. The Second Amendment should be highly important. It should be a bipartisan issue. It shouldn't even be a political issue. And with all the history that black people have in this country, the Jim Crow, the black codes, the marginalization that that black people have been treated in, and the continued constant, we keep seeing, these sort of cases. That should be a priority with black people. And it's black people's job and duty to change the Democratic Party. If you still want to vote Democrat, you need to tell Democrats, you need to tell your Democratic politicians, yo, I'll vote for you or whatever. Let's say you still want to vote for the Democrats, even though, again, we can't have that conversation about reparations for slavery, no tangibles, no vote. But I'm saying black people got to put that Second Amendment right up there with all the other tangibles. It should be right up there. It's a non-negotiable. So I hear black people talking all this stuff about, pro 2A, pro Second Amendment, exercise their rights. The Constitution applies to us too. But will you vote that way? That's the question. Are you going to vote like it matters? Or are you going to go out here and when November comes, you just going to give the Democrats your vote, and then come whenever they become the majority of the House or the Senate or whatever. I mean, I know that they're already the majority of the House. But I'm saying they become majority of the Senate or become majority of the presidency, they're going to pass some damn stupid ass gun control. And I've already talked about how when they pass these gun control laws are over-policed in the black community. They're over-enforced in the black community. They don't be enforcing these laws out there with them white folks. They enforce them laws with us, right? Then we get in charged with all type of stupid shit with like unlawful possession, like with what Mr. Arbery was charged with. You see? All I'm saying is all this stuff about the show of force and everything, that only works in states where open carry exists. That's the only reason why that white police officer came rolling up on NFAC and told them, oh, well, y'all ain't breaking the law, and then kept it moving. You can't do that in New York. You can't do that in New Jersey. You can't do that in Maryland. You can't do that in Connecticut. You can't do that in Massachusetts. You see what I'm saying? You can't do that in California. That was the whole Mulford Act. The whole Mulford Act stopped open carry because black people did exactly what the white folks did in Michigan, marching on the damn state house. Which is why I didn't understand Mr. Michael Lynn Jr. going up there and bringing out the capes for Sarah Anthony. I'm like, how does she vote? She's a part of every town for gun safety. My nigga, what are you doing? She gonna vote to prevent you from doing the very thing that you're doing to protect her. Then how are you gonna protect yourself from the white supremacists at that point? Forget her. How you gonna protect your family when a woman like her, she gonna be up there, we gonna ban AR-15s. Well, that AR-15 that you had standing on the state capitol stairs, you wouldn't be able to have. Or if she goes up there and bans not just open carry on the state capitol, but open carry in the state. Because if you think Democrats go out here and they just gonna stop, just real reasonable gun control, or we just gonna stop here and we're not gonna push it any further. Again, if you follow gun control and you follow the laws, once you become a gun owner, you'll see that the Democrats don't stop. You'll see that every tragedy, every opportunity they get, they go out there, they want to pass more gun control. Every year. Why? Because, it's a quick fix. It's a Band-Aid. Any politician going up there trying to actually fix the black community with tangible resources, again, the results would take longer than one election cycle. But they can say, ooh, I did something. I banned all these guns and blah, 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 blah. And I'm for gun safety and stopping and reducing the violence and everything else like that. When the actual reduction of violence will not come until you have black men who are gainfully employed in their communities. You got to understand that. And we don't understand that. I hear all this, I hear all the talk, the Black Panthers, and all that, and the NFAC, they out there, they doing their thing. But, I'm like, y'all need to reconcile with that, the Black Panther standing up there, holding their Stacey Abrams sign. And Stacey Abrams loudly goes on television talking about we need to get rid of these weapons of war, and these weapons of war have no place on our streets. And you got all these pro-black organizations up there holding guns like it actually means something if they ban them motherfuckers. But yet, I don't hear no discussion about black people. If you really want to protect yourself, we've been trying to get you on the Second Amendment tip, but if you really want to protect yourself, you're going to have to fight these gun control laws. You're going to have to tell your local politicians, we don't want that shit. Then you'll see more black people out there with show of force and everything else like that. Because if you go out there and you live in a state that doesn't have open carry, then the police will have grounds to disarm you. And it'll be the Democrats that'll be the loudest talking about why they need to be disarmed because they broke our democratic laws. You see? I don't know how y'all be overlooking this. And it's not just these pro-black militant groups and everything else. It's all black people. It's all black people. I'm like, I need to get a gun, and I'm like, I still see you out there voting blue. I'd rather see black people not vote and be about the Second Amendment than to vote for the very people who are serious about taking their gun rights away. Again, these black politicians do not answer to black people. They answer to their Democratic white overlords. That's who they answer to the Michael Bloombergs, to the people that's throwing around billions and millions of dollars. That man spent $500 million on running for the presidency. $500 million. He's worth $60 billion. That means that he spent 50 cents if he had $60 in his pocket. That's nothing to him. So it ain't nothing to him to throw $50,000 to this black politician, another $100K to this black politician, all dependent upon how hard in the paint they go on gun control. Right? It makes no sense to have a politician up there in one breath talk about racism, in another breath talk about how we need strong gun control and everything. That makes no sense. So why doesn't it make sense? It doesn't make sense because, again, these people have ulterior motives. They're talking out of both sides of their face. And then black people want to talk about running and running to the same white police officers. The black people run around screaming and shouting is so racist. Oh, they so racist. They so racist. Okay, well then protect yourself. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna protect myself. I believe in the Second Amendment. Then turn around and go and vote Democrat. And then the Democrats come into office and then they passing all type of crazy gun control. You know what I'm saying? In Jersey, Governor Murphy passed, at least like 12 gun control bills. He reduced the capacity. Then he put in, what else did he put in there? He stopped transfers between, like first off, you already had to have a firearms ID card in New Jersey. And then he stopped transfers for people for long guns in New Jersey, right? When, again, everybody had to have a firearms ID card anyway. But he made it so that all transfers have to go through an FFL, which is just, basically a waste of money. And again, that has nothing to do with the crime. Fortunately, there was the person that's I think is the Sweeney. He I think he's in charge of the House or the Senate in Jersey, whatever. Governor Murphy, again, black people love him, and he tried to raise the prices on getting permits. They don't even give you concealed carry permits in New Jersey, but he tried to raise the price on getting your permit to purchase a handgun and your FOID card. Guess who's the poorest of the poor and wouldn't be able to afford that? If niggas ain't even going out and getting the shit now, which is only like $5 and $2, just imagine how much they're not going to go out there and exercise their Second Amendment rights when it's $50 and $100. But yet, Governor Murphy wanted to push this shit. Black people, no pushback, no commotion. And yet, we got all this talk about Second Amendment and this, that, and the third. Not every black person lives in the Deep South or lives in Georgia or lives in these majority red states. A lot where black people are a majority of the population is where all the stiff ass gun control laws are. When black people are in urban environments, that's where all the stiff ass gun control laws are. And so where black people disproportionately reside and disproportionately live in abject poverty, that's where all the gun control laws are the stiffest. And that's where black people vote to put those very democratic politicians in office. And then niggas got the audacity to sit around the internet talking about we want to be able to support the Second Amendment. You see what I'm saying? Charlemagne up there, my only criticism of him, I'm glad he's supporting the Second Amendment, but the motherfucker be turning around talking about pro-democratic rhetoric and shit like that. Oh, we got to get rid of Trump, this, that, and the third. Anybody who's wearing blue or repping blue is going to go into that White House and they're going to be signing off on some gun control bills as if they can get it through the Senate. And you already know all the type of shaming tactics that they're going to try to use. Oh, the blood of our children is on your hands and da-da-da-da-da. And again, every time they talking that shit, they talk about them white children out there in the suburbs when some crazy-ass white boy goes off the deep end. Shit ain't got nothing to do with inner city crime. Again, no black school in the inner city has had a mass shooting inside the damn school. We done have metal detectors since the fucking 80s. Why don't they put metal detectors in white schools? What, are white kids too good for metal detectors? I mean, hell, you could make a metal detector and put it in the doorway so you can't even see the damn metal detector. Oh no, not our precious Billy and Susie. Freaking them seeing metal detectors. I mean, it would just affect their emotions and their feelings. I mean, they just can't handle it. But yeah, black kids, we've been had metal detectors. And oh my God, they're effective. No shooting in the school. I'm saying if you want to say that there's other factors, I'm saying you can't prove or disprove. I'm saying metal detectors are there and there's no mass shootings in predominantly black schools. So why don't you put metal detectors in the white schools? Mass shooting problem solved, right? But nah, white people, no, they don't want to do that because that's too much of a testament to white male dysfunction. So no, we're not gonna put these metal detectors in school. My Bobby is perfectly okay. I'm like, okay. Anyway, my battery's about to die, so I gotta end this video. But I'm saying, think about what I said. I do not hear this being talked about enough. If you are about that Second Amendment, then you cannot be over there all drunk off the Democratic Party. I'm sorry, you can't. As much as you may be in your feelings about the Democrats, I'm sorry, you can't. Anyway, that's all I got to say. That's my video. SWP out.